Hello people, I have just arrived in New York City, the Big Apple, the city for those that are local. And I'm here with Zach Reisler. He jammed his finger yesterday playing basketball, so he is no longer with us at this very moment. And over here is Brooklyn. And we're gonna be showing you around this side of the city as we go down towards Brighton Beach and Coney Island to see, of course, the Slavic side of this city, as well as anything we might encounter along the way. Up here is Manhattan, and there's a beautiful view, and I'll take you there very quickly. Zach, how many times have you been to the city?
Probably over 50 times, give or take. I've taken a lot of different methods of transportation. For instance, the ferry, the train, and the car. And my favorite has to be the ferry because you get the perfect view.
That's Zach, our local transportation resident. He'll be informing you on all the metro, subways, and transportation systems the world has to offer, starting with New York. And we'll be taking one right now down to Brighton.
Brighton Beach.
After we eat.
Think there's dead bodies in there?
What?
Mafia, 1950s, New York.
Zach's still learning how to dance.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
He's at lesson 1 or 2. We're here at the market in Brooklyn, and we're gonna try some bites to eat. Not sure where we're gonna eat, but something is calling our name here. Here in Time Out, which is a gastro bar or a food court of sorts. It's a nice little gentrified Brooklyn, and we're gonna order some things. There's pastrami over there, which caught our attention. There's also a lot of chicken places, chicken sandwiches, Italian, you name it. So the options are large. I need something hearty, maybe pastrami. We'll see. I'd like to quickly interrupt this broadcast to show you The Traveler's Curse, which is my book that I've written. I have a second book coming along the way, so I hope that you guys can get your hands on this one. It actually takes place in New York City, and it will give you a lot of insight into my past visits to the city. So make sure to get that on Amazon, The Traveler's Curse by TJ Weezar. And back to the video. Here is the train that will take us down to Brighton. It's going to be about 1 hour. I'll be there. So we made it here to Coney Island adjacent. And as you can see, we have signs in English, we have signs in Spanish, and we have signs in Russian. So that shows that we are definitely near Queens for the Spanish and near Brighton Beach with the Russian.
First impressions, I'm seeing a lot of Russian, which is great. We just have to dive into the deep parts of Brighton Beach.
I've always had this particular desire to do an enclave series here in New York because each neighborhood has a very specific demographic. Like here in Brighton Beach, it's Russians, Slavs, Eastern Europeans, and there are other places like the Hamilton Heights with a lot of Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, and of course you have the Italian neighborhood in Little Italy, Chinatown, etc. Here, we're just going to be walking around, seeing who we run into, what we find, and then we'll go back up to Manhattan later. But for now, maybe I get to practice a little bit of my Russian because I haven't been in Europe for a couple months and getting a little rusty. We don't want that. Up above, we even find signs in Uzbeki, as well as Turkish, Russian, and Tajiki, which is really interesting to see not only Eastern European, but Central Asian languages very well represented in these parts. Right here we have a bakery called Tashkent. Tashkent, of course, being the capital of Uzbekistan. searching for some sort of Russian bookstore because I had to leave a lot of my Russian books back in Vienna, so I have to replenish them. And hopefully I can do that over there. Not only do we have Russians here, Kamera Kleniniya, we have Georgian, Amanatevis, Gatsavna, Pulis, Gadaritswa. So they accept money for Western Union. Every single one of these cultures I've been familiarized with over in Europe for different reasons. Georgian, I've been to Georgia so many times, and then we have Russian over there, we have Ukrainian. It's cool to see each individual culture here. We were just up in Chinatown, well, many months ago, but it's a very similar immersion into a local culture where you get to practice the language, of course, but also get a taste of what costs a lot of money to experience abroad. Most of the migrants here in Brighton Beach came in the 1930s, and then there was another wave in the 1970s. The first one was a mass emigration of Jews from Russia, Soviet Union at the time, and then there was a second one in the 70s, also mainly Jewish. So you might notice there are large menorahs all around the city, lots of Uzbeki Jews who end up being very good barbers all around the United States. My barber is an Uzbeki Jew, so is Zach's, and you end up with a very Russified, very Sovietized part of town. It's close to the beach. You don't feel like you're in the hustle and bustle of the city, but you still get that New York taste. I'm looking for a store called St. Petersburg Books, but I hope it still exists. It should be around here somewhere, but I'm not seeing it. Correction, it's right in front of us this whole time, so let's go in. Look behind you, you'll see some beautiful propaganda. Here we can talk about the great authors of Russia. So, where should I start? Dostoevsky, idiot. One of my favorite books. It's about a man who suffers epilepsy, and he travels from Switzerland back to Russia and encounters all sorts of strange people in love with the same woman, and it gets very, very dramatic. Love it. It's a very long read though, if you're in for it. You can find a lot of bookstores like these for any language here in New York City. I know of one in Polish, there's one in Chinese in Chinatown, Spanish of course. So if you're ever low on literature or you need to learn a foreign language, well, come to New York City and you don't have to fly all the way across the world, take them back home in a suitcase, because that costs a lot of money. I would know.
Someone's done that.
Yeah, costs money. Вот это у нас есть краткая история США. Это мне нужно, потому что я буду переезжать в Вашингтоне. И это будет очень важно знать все истории своей страны. Whoa. We found this interesting book here called Psych, and I was reading into it. Zach noticed that it has Coney Island and Stillwell Avenue. Very good eye. And I started reading into it. Looks interesting. And I looked at the front page, and the author is from here. His handwriting is a little difficult to read, but it was published right here in Brooklyn. So.
These are a bunch of Russian posters, some from the Soviet Union, some from more recent times. Some of the good ones are sold out, but there are a couple really, really good posters I would like to buy. So I'm gonna go scour through, find some for my room. It makes for great decorations, so, and TJ can agree.
After much deliberation, I finally ended up with this book. It was the cheapest one, $7.99. I'm running on a budget here, and now we're gonna head back up to Manhattan. And there's the ice cream truck over there. Just to remind you that you're in America.
This town is literally under a metro. You can see like the main square just under the beaming metro. That's a New York City town for you.
He would know. He's from an hour south of here, so he always comes up to the city. Actually, the first time I came to New York City was almost 3 years ago now, when I came up and met Zach in Tribeca. And ever since then, we've been best of friends. So, New York City is where our friendship began and where it will also end. Alright, we just got back to Canal. Canal Street is located right in the heart of Chinatown. As you can see right here, McDonald's is written in Chinese. And I'll give you guys a quick tour around, but this is basically what is Chinatown. There's also Little Italy around the corner, but of course Little Italy is being consumed by Chinatown because it's growing in size. But here, even Chase Bank and other banks have everything written in Mandarin, which is very cool for someone that has studied the language just a wee little bit. Yijiang, as they say in Chinese. The interesting thing about Chinatowns here in the USA is that they're mostly populated by Southern Chinese people, which tend to speak Cantonese or Fuzhonese or something that I typically don't understand. So all these signs here that you see that are written, they're actually written in traditional Chinese, which was used before the Cultural Revolution of the 50s. So I can understand some characters, but most I cannot because, again, communists, they like to ruin everything. But we're gonna walk around and try to see something of interest, and then we'll head back to New Jersey to end this wonderful day. Right behind me is the remnants of Little Italy. As you can see now, it's only about one street. Look, they don't even want you to see it. They're obscuring it with trucks. Little Italy used to be as big as 6 or 7 blocks wide on each side, and now it's just one little street, which is unfortunate because this whole place used to be full of Italian food, and as we know, pizza, pasta, very New York things.
Cannolis.
Cannoli. But now, as you can see, the most New York thing here is boba tea.
Listen, coming from a New Yorker, alright, I'm gonna teach you how to not get scammed in this city. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. So just be rude, say no, walk away, you know, get yourself right.
He speaks truth.
We are going to a Malaysian restaurant for dinner. My plan eventually is to go to Malaysia. So the goal will be is to have some good Malaysian food, draw me back to the country, and maybe I'll like it just as much as I'll hopefully like Malaysia when I end up going.
This here is mango chicken. We have pineapple rice, normal fried rice, and then over there we have some shrimp pineapple fried rice as well. So we'll be feasting enough to keep us full for the trip back to Jersey. After getting a little bit of boba for the road back to Jersey, we are now complete with our tour of Manhattan and Brooklyn for this time being. I'll be back as always, and I will always enjoy my visits here to the big city. Zach and I, however, we've got business to attend to over in the Southwest.
We do.
A 3-day road trip to the Four Corners with my buddy Thomas and my cousins, and it's gonna be great. And I'll try to film that too. But until then, ciao from Chinatown.